The dust still hung in the air when I pulled up to our old family ranch. I had been gone for months and the place already felt strange. Too quiet, like someone had been waiting for me. I barely stepped out of my truck when a black SUV slid in front of the gate and blocked my path. 3 men jumped out wearing cheap badges, the kind you buy online, but they acted like they were running the whole state. The woman with them, short haircut, sunglasses, that stiff fake smile, pointed at me like I was some criminal. "Step away from the gate," she said. "This property is under HOA control now." My heart dropped for a second, not because of her words, but because she said them like she owned my family's land. My dad bought this ranch 40 years ago. Nobody, especially not a random HOA lady, had any right to touch it. I tried to stay calm. "Ma'am, this land isn't part of any HOA, never has been." She laughed like she was talking to a child. "You don't make the rules." "I do, and you're trespassing. On video." She waved her phone at me like it was a weapon. Before I could answer, one of her cops stepped forward and slapped a bright orange notice on my truck window. "Vehicle flagged for seizure," he said, reading from some paper like he practiced it in a bathroom mirror. My stomach tightened. That truck was the last thing I had from my dad. I walked closer and the woman snapped her fingers at me. "Don't move. We have authority here." I stared at her badge. The eagle symbol was crooked. The word authority was spelled wrong. They were fakes. Unbelievably bad fakes. Still, the man reached for his handcuffs like he was ready to put me on the ground. "You're making a mistake," I said quietly. She smiled again. That cold smile people get when they think they've already won. "No, you made the mistake the second you stepped on my land." My jaw tightened. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want drama. But she had no idea who she was talking to, and no clue what was coming. I took one step closer and whispered, "Before you touch me, you should know something." Her smile faded just a little, like she felt something shift in the air. I leaned in. "I'm not just the owner's son. I'm the one the sheriff calls when things go wrong." Her face froze. The fake cops stopped moving. For the first time, they actually looked at me instead of acting tough. And right then, something behind the SUV made all 3 of them jump. A loud metal clank, a shadow moving near the barn. Someone watching us. Their little plan was about to fall apart. But they still didn't know the biggest secret. My family never left this ranch unprotected. The sound came again. A slow scrape, metal dragging on dirt. The fake cops stiffened. Karen spun around like she expected a real officer to appear and save her, but no one came. The only thing behind the SUV was the old barn door, swinging open on its own. She snapped back toward me. "Who's in there?" I didn't answer. Watching her panic felt like justice warming up. One of the fake cops whispered, "Ma'am, I thought you said the place was empty." "It is empty," she hissed. "It was checked this morning. Keep him here. Don't let him move." But the second she said that, the barn door creaked louder, and a tall figure stepped out. He wore a dusty hat, boots heavy from dirt, and a long coat that looked like it had seen more storms than any of us. Karen's face went pale. He didn't say a word, just walked toward us with slow, steady steps. Karen's voice shook. "Identify yourself." "Nothing." He kept walking, straight toward her. The fake cops reached for their plastic badges like they meant something, but their hands were trembling. They weren't ready for this. Nobody ever is when they realize the person in front of them isn't some scared landowner. When the figure finally reached the sunlight, Karen flinched. Her jaw dropped. It was my uncle, my dad's brother, the man who trained search and rescue teams for 20 years, the same man everyone thought had moved out of state. He stepped between me and the fake cops like he'd been waiting for this moment. Karen tried to recover her confidence. You can't be here. This land is seized. We posted notices." He looked straight at her, calm as a rock. "You posted trash. On land you don't own. On land you don't control. And you brought impersonators to enforce fake rules." Her throat tightened. "I have legal power." "No, you don't," he said, cutting her off. "And you just picked the wrong family." The fake cops backed up a step. Karen grabbed the door handle of her SUV like she might bolt. But before she could, my uncle lifted a small black remote from his coat pocket and pressed a button. Karen blinked. What did you just do?" A faint beep echoed from the pole near the gate, then 2 more near the barn, then another behind my truck. Her fear turned into confusion. "What is that?" I stepped forward. Security system. Installed by the sheriff's department. This ranch is a protected training zone. Everything you did, everything you touched, has been recorded. Karen's mouth fell open. And then the worst moment hit her. The cameras mounted on the fence slowly rotated toward her SUV, locking on like eyes that had finally woken up. My uncle spoke quietly, almost too calm. You brought fake officers onto restricted land. One of her men whispered, "Ma'am, we need to go." But Karen couldn't move, because at that exact moment, the driveway behind us filled with the distant echo of real sirens. Not for us, not for me, for her. The sirens grew louder, bouncing off the empty fields until the whole ranch felt like it was humming. Karen finally snapped out of her frozen state. This is ridiculous. I didn't do anything wrong. They work for me. This land is under HOA control. But her voice cracked and her fake cops were already stepping back, trying to distance themselves from her. One of them whispered, "Ma'am, we should run." She spun on him. "We're not running. They have no proof." Right then the sheriff's cruiser turned into the ranch and rolled to a stop inches from her. SUV Sheriff Martinez stepped out, big, steady, the kind of presence that makes guilty people shrink without a word. He knew my uncle, he knew me, but he didn't greet us. He just stared straight at Karen. "Ma'am," he said calmly, "step away from the vehicle." Karen raised her chin, trying one last time to act powerful. "Sheriff, I need you to arrest them. They tried to break into this property. This whole ranch belongs to our HOA now." He didn't blink. "There is no HOA out here." She laughed nervously. "Well, there is now." Martinez pointed at her badge. "That's counterfeit. And the people with you? None of them are officers. We already ran checks." He looked at the men beside her. "You boys want to keep pretending? Or you want to walk away while you still can?" They didn't even hesitate. All three dropped the cheap badges on the ground and backed away with their hands up. Karen stared at them like they'd betrayed her. "You can't leave. We're doing this together. We had an agreement," she shouted. One of them turned around and muttered, "Lady, you said no one lived here. You didn't say the place was under federal watch." The sheriff looked back at my uncle. Security footage got everything, including the part where she tried to seize his truck. Karen's face drained of color. "It wasn't real. It was just a warning. My uncle stepped closer, not angry, just disappointed. "You threatened a family's land. You used fake authority, and you thought you could walk over people who wouldn't fight back." Karen tried to speak, but the sheriff gently took her wrist and turned her around. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing, impersonating an officer, and filing a false property seizure." "No, wait, this is a mistake," she cried as the cuffs clicked shut. "I'm the one in charge here. This land was supposed to be mine." I looked at her through the dust and sunlight. "You picked the wrong ranch," she screamed as they guided her into the cruiser, still insisting she was right, even when every lie she built had already fallen apart. When the car pulled away, silence settled over the ranch again, the real peaceful kind. My uncle put a hand on my shoulder. "Your dad knew this land would attract trouble one day. That's why we protected it. That's why you're here." I took a long breath, feeling the weight lift. She really thought she could take it. He gave a small smile. People like her always think that, until the truth stands in front of them. I looked out at the open fields, our fields, and felt something settle inside me. Not anger, not fear, just pride. "This ranch built our family," I said quietly. "No one gets to steal that." My uncle nodded. "Exactly. And now the whole county knows it." The sun started to fall behind the barn, painting the land in gold. The same way it did when my dad was still here. The same way it always would. And as the last bit of siren echo faded into the distance, I whispered the line my father used to say whenever trouble showed up at our gate. "On this land, we stand our ground."